Hello, I'm Jeff Power, senior writer for Real-Time Fantasy Sports. Welcome to another edition of RTSports Weekly. Very excited to bring you another live stream here on Twitch. My Twitch channel is jpower18 if you're watching the recorded version, so you can tune in next week live. It's jpower18 to watch this live, JPAUR number 18. That's the Twitch channel. This is RT Sports Weekly, the show dedicated to everything real-time fantasy sports. I'm going to talk about some different things going on the site, talk about all the contests as well, our big game contest, who's winning those contests, give those guys their due, and their big kudos to those guys for being on top after 5 weeks of action. And let's talk about last week a little bit, though. Wow, that was absolutely crazy. I can't remember a week so high scoring, so many games, 200-plus fantasy points I saw in so many of my leagues. I just can't remember that. And I've been doing this a long, long time here at Real-Time Fantasy Sports for 15-plus years. I was at the Sporting News before this doing fantasy stuff as well. And I can't remember a week with this high of scoring of games. Hopefully your teams were able to take advantage of that. You had some Lamar Jackson shares. Justin Herbert had a huge week. Austin Eckler, Devontae Adams, you name it. Lots of big scores last week. Hopefully, again, you took advantage of that and had some big weeks yourself. Moved up in those standings. I know some of the standings in the Fantasy Championship, Best Ball Championship, some of those things moved around a little bit because of those huge weeks. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of those. And as always, if you have any questions at all during this chat, you can put them in this stream. You can put them in the chat. I will look at them. I will try to answer them as best I can. You can ask anything RT Sports, questions about the site, questions about start sits, waiver wire questions, any of that stuff. Feel free to post in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them. I will keep an eye on them during this chat. Let's talk about a couple things going on this week. Waivers tonight. Don't forget about that. Most of your leagues, waivers run tonight. It'll be busy this week. Again, we had lots of injuries last week. Unfortunately, a couple more running backs went down. So Darrell Williams, Devontae Booker, they will be hot items on waivers tonight. If you want to get them, get your bids in now so you don't miss out on a chance to acquire those players. Also, another big issue this week. Buys start this week. I know they're not fun to deal with, but the buys start this week. Falcons, Saints, Jets, 49ers, any of those players on your teams, you need to find a replacement for this week. And what I like to do with bye week strategy a little bit is plan ahead. So if you're looking at your rosters, down the road a little bit, and you're going to see you have a couple players off, start planning ahead. Get some players on your rosters that have favorable matchups that can fill in for those players. Excuse me as I choke a little bit here. So just look ahead a little bit. If you just wait for that week, if you're planning this week and you had a couple Saints and Falcons on your roster and now you have to try to pick up some players to use for them this week, might be in a little bit of a pickle if you didn't work ahead and get some quality options on your roster ahead of the time. So I like to look ahead a little bit, figure things out on my roster. Just a little tip for all of you out there trying to plan for these bye weeks going forward. I think a good owner is a proactive owner. Also, another tidbit for this week is there's another London game. I like that. I liked watching the game last week. It was Jets-Falcons last week. This week it's Dolphins-Jaguars, and that could be a good game for fantasy purposes as Tua is slated to likely come back. It looks like he's going to come back this week, and you also have James Robinson, watch Trevor Lawrence as well. So that could be a good, fun game to watch as well. And I'm definitely going to tune in Sunday morning. So those are a couple news and notes going on for this week, bye week strategy, London game, waivers tonight. And I mentioned the crazy scoring last week as well. I think this could be a little bit of a trend with the scoring, though. I think, these offenses are just clicking on high cylinders right now, and I think there could be a lot more high-scoring games going forward, especially with a longer season. Defenses will get tired a little bit, I think. Injuries as well. I think it's something to think about. Could be a little bit more high scoring this year in fantasy land. Also, I wanted to mention fantasy basketball. So let me pull that up for you to look at on the site here. You can see all of the different leagues we have to offer fantasy basketball. The season is kicking off here next week. So you can get in different leagues, different price points. We're doing fantasy basketball. We have Draft Masters, which is our best ball format. We have Dime Best Ball, which is $10 to get into. We have the Slam Dunk Basketball as well, as you can see here on the left. All different price points, $20 leagues, $50 leagues, $125, 250 and 500, and different formats as well. Point scoring, we have rotisserie scoring too. If you want to do franchise fantasy basketball, you can get in a franchise league so you can keep this team for years to come in this franchise style format as well. So that's kind of exciting. Actually, that's dynasty scoring, I should say. That's the dynasty basketball is the ones where you can keep your franchise for several seasons. So that's kind of fun. If you want to do fantasy basketball, don't miss out. These leagues are filling up every night, and we're doing them a lot here at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Different price points, different formats. So get in a league today. Just go to rtsports.com, click on the fantasy basketball link at the top of the page. So that is fantasy basketball. Don't forget to try to get in one of those leagues if you want to do that. Now I want to talk about a feature on our site. I think most of you are probably familiar with this feature, but I just wanted to point out some different things you can do with it. So let me pull that up here on the web page here, and then I can let you see that on here. Let's look at it here. Let's see, it's not, oh, there it is. Okay, let's transition over to that. Okay, let's look at this page now. It's the top players report. So if you want to get to that, in your league home pages, you go to reports and then click on top players. So this is basically the top scoring players in your league right now. I like to look at this before the season starts to get an idea with my scoring, what scores the best, what scores the worst. You know, some scoring is different with some favor quarterback scoring, running back scoring, receiver scoring, all that stuff. You can get an idea of what scores the best and just take a look at that here. So this is the report. As you can see, a lot of these players, this is the Champs League I'm looking at. This is the league on our site that a lot of the top owners are in. I invite a lot of the top rated owners, and we duke it out every year in this site. So that's this league. But as I scroll down here, you can see a lot of these guys are owned. But if they're not owned, it says free agents. So Henry Ruggs here is unowned, and he's on the top players report here. And if I want to pick him up, I can just click on that free agent button. It goes right into the page with it goes right into the page there, the waiver wire page, so that I can click on that. I want to go back to the reports now. So that's an easy way to do it. If you don't want to go to that waiver wire page, if you want to look at players the other way on this top players report, you can still pick up players here. And I want to show you too, there's NFL stats you can look at as well. So I think that's helpful too. We have some different options here. And you can see we have receiver targets, 100-yard games, rush attempts, rush TDs, all that stuff. So you don't have to just sort by fantasy scoring. There's different ones on here. I know this target one's a big one I like to look at. So as you can see here, there's a lot of players here getting a ton of targets, and you can see all the top players. You can look at them by position too. So running back, you can sort by targets there as well in the running back page, which is kind of helpful as well. So I like to look at this page. I think it's very helpful, and you can use it to find your free agents for the week. You can sort by two. If I go back to fantasy football, you can look at 3-week average as well. So, you know, sometimes you want to look at the players who are producing the best. I know we're just 6 weeks into the season now, so the 3-week average probably isn't quite as helpful. I think it's a little more indicative later in the season where you can see different players getting different playing time. So, again, that's the top players report. If you want to get to that, go to reports heading on your league pages and then click on top players report. All different things you can do. You can sort by fantasy football stats, NFL stats. You can pick up free agents through this report as well. So I just wanted to point that out. Just something that in case you weren't aware of, we have this cool top players report with different functionality, and you can do all sorts of things on here. So let's look at the championships now. So we had some movement. Some different players are now leading the championship. So we're going to look at the fantasy championship first. This is the big one with, you know, the big championship prize of, I believe it's $300,000. I hope that's what it was. I think that's what it is. I should know that. I apologize. But that's the fantasy championship. Let's look at it now. Right now, the winner is, the leader is, not the winner yet, is Cocktails and Dreams. That is Chad Schrader. He is a great fantasy owner. He's been on this top page the past couple weeks, but now he is winning it all. 919 points. So he's roughly 30 points ahead of the second place owner, which is the Chill Squad 1. Then Dush Daddy is in third. Foosball, our friend, in fourth. Richard Mallon, one of the great owners on our site, is in fifth. And then we have Islet. I think he was winning. No, he was not. He's been on this leaderboard for a while. This A Sooners team. Uh, so he's hanging in there and doing a great job. A couple other owners on here I want to mention. Chad Schrader's got another team up here in 13th place. The Islet team. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I apologize, but he has another owner up at 15 as well. So you can see down here, Foosball's got another owner in another team in 20th place. So that is the Foosball's got another one as well in 23rd place. So he's all over this leaderboard. AC2. So that is the Fantasy Championship leaderboard. Cocktails and Dreams is the leader, current leader right now. I want to take a look at his team, show everybody how he got there. So I'm assuming he had a big week this past week. So we'll look at that right now. I'm going to pull up his page here, see how Chad got to the top. Let's look at it. So let's transition over to that page. As you can see, 237 points this week from his team. So he's 3-2 and he's first overall. Again, it doesn't have to be the team that runs the table and goes undefeated. It's all about points. You're racking up the points. You got a chance to win this fantasy championship. That's what Cocktails and Dreams is doing right now. 237 this past week. I mentioned it. A lot of high scores, a lot of 200-plus point games. He had Tom Brady, Austin Eckler, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Pitts finally had that huge game. So, wow, just a huge week for Chad's team here. He had Devontae Booker on his bench, too, so that could be handy for him with Saquon Barkley out the next few weeks. He also had Chase Claypool on his team on the bench. He had a huge week as well. So, this is a really good-looking team. He could be one that's going to be tough to knock off going forward. So, that is the Fantasy Championship leader right now. He's not the winner yet. Got a long time to go, but it's good to be on top right now. So that is our current leader, Cocktails and Dreams. So let's look at the next team, the next championship. We're going to go look at the Best Ball Championship now. So our friend Richard Mallon leads that. He's been up near the top. I can't remember if he was leading last week. He might have been leading. If not, he was close to the top. But he actually has two of the top three teams right now. Crosschecker 81 is in second. Then we have Boom Party in fourth. Rosenhaus Factor in fifth. Bella Star in sixth. In seventh, we have the Flying Elvis team. Mallons has another team in eighth. Another team in 13th. He has teams all over the place in this Best Ball Championship. Doing a great job. So his leading team is roughly 9 points ahead of the Crosschecker team right now. Let's look at Mallon's team, how he got there. Again, I'm assuming he had a huge week this past week. Let's take a look at that. I clicked on the wrong page here. So let me pull this up, see how he got there. Richard Mallon's team in first place overall right now in the Fantasy Best Ball Championship. Let's look at his team. 259 points this past week. Wow. Huge week for his team here. Jalen Hurts, Myles Gaskin finally got going, got a ton of catches. Najee Harris, Devontae Adams, Mike Williams, Kadarius Toney. Mark Andrews had a huge game as well. 40-plus fantasy points from the tight end position is just huge. His defense did well, too. 16 points from Buffalo. So, good-looking team here. I guess one concern for him, though, right now has to be his QB spot because he has Cam Newton, and then he has Russell Wilson as well as his backup. So his only starter is Jalen Hurts right now because Wilson's hurt. Hopefully, I'm not sure when Hurts' bye week is, but hopefully it's not when Russell Wilson is still injured for Mallon's team here. But the rest of his team's looking good too. Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones on his bench, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Galladay, DJ Moore, who's been great, Devontae Smith as well. So this team's really deep. Right now, though, QB's got to be a tad bit of a concern for him. Hopefully he can get by with that. But for now, looking good in first place. 259 points this past week. So great work to him. And now I'm going to look at the RTFFC. I'm going to look at the gold. That's the color I'm going to look at today is the gold one. So RTFFC gold. These RTFFCs sold a ton this year. All different colors. I'm doing a different one each week. I'm looking at gold right now. And let's see the winner of that is Azuri 33. And then we have the usual suspects in second. Peanut 1 in third. Master Drafter, that's our friend Ralph Schiavon. He's in sixth. Jocks 50 is in fifth. Homer's Hitman A good leaderboard here. The leading team, though, Missouri 33, 761 points, roughly 30 points ahead of the second place team. He's 4-1. As you look up here, though, always interesting. I mentioned it earlier. The Bogler team, he's 2-3, and he's 5th overall. So, again, points scored, it's huge. Doesn't always have to be the teams that are running the table. You need to score points. Obviously, he probably took advantage of a huge week this past week because, as I said, a lot of big scores likely moved up the leaderboard here. Let's take a look at this first place team, though. I want to see how they're doing here, see how they got there. Probably a huge game somewhere along a huge week this week is my guess. 176 points, not quite as big as some of these 200-plus points, but still, 176 is good. Josh Allen, Alexander Madison, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. So he has Adams and Hill. That's impressive. And Josh Allen's his QB. TJ Hawkinson has kind of been disappointing lately. The last few weeks was his starting tight end. Hopefully he gets going for him. His bench, he's got James Robinson, who's played very well lately. Rondell Moore, Jonnu Smith. He does not have a backup quarterback right now. May have to look into that at some point. But he has Josh Allen, so that's a good-looking starting lineup for this team. And he's in first place of the RTFFC Gold. That's last stop. He is 4-1. So that is the leader of RTFFC Gold. And I wanted to look at a different league. I haven't looked at any of these yet. Thought it'd be fun to look at the Syndicate. So if you aren't familiar, the Syndicate is our high stakes of high stakes games. $5,000 to get into the Syndicate. So you have to put up $5,000 for a chance to win $30,000. And I wanted to look at this leaderboard, the standings, I should say, right now, show everybody who's winning the Syndicate. And that is the Debo 5K 1-2 team. He is winning right now. Actually, he's not winning. He's tied with first place, who's 4-1. Cocktails and Dreams, that's our friend who's winning the fantasy championship. He is in third place. He actually leads this league in points, so with 716. That's Chad Schrader. The Debo 561 team is Andrew Hurwitz. Let's take a look at his team. He's 4-1 in first place because of total points right now. Has Jalen Hurts, Chase Edmonds, Leonard Fournette. Let's look at his Justin Herbert is his other quarterback. Two really good quarterbacks. Receivers are great with Adams, Hill, and McLaurin. Obviously, he went heavy on receiver, kind of weighted on running back, it looks like. And he's been getting by with it right now. He's winning games because of the great receiver playing great quarterback plays as well with Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. So that's the Andrew Hurwitz team. Let's take a look at the other team. It was, let me see here if I can do this easily. The drop down doesn't work very easily. Let's go back to standings. Apologize. Let's see. Oh, I got to go to league standings. Let's look at the first place team, see who's on his roster in the Syndicate lead. He's tied for first. It's Brad Feinberg. He has Tom Brady, who's tearing it up this year. Never shown any signs of slowing down just yet. He's been outstanding. Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Mari Cooper, T. Higgins, Mike Williams. Mike Williams having a great year as well. Tyler Higbee. Also, and then on his bench is Chris Carson, who's banged up a little bit. So this is a solid team as well. He's going to be tough in this Syndicate league. He's currently tied for first, behind in total points. So I want to look at Chad Schrader's team in this league to see who he has on his roster because he has the most points right now. And I want to look at the Syndicate, all these Syndicate teams here and give them their due. So he actually has Lamar Jackson, Austin Eckler, James Robinson, Damian Williams, Jamar Chase, big rookie season, Devontae Smith, another rookie receiver playing very well, TJ Hawkinson, a little bit of a disappointment, but a little bit of injury issues for this team, Cocktails and Dreams, with Calvin Ridley banged up last week, not able to play because of a family. I don't know what the issue was, but it was a personal issue. He's not banged up, but Jerry Jeudy's banged up. So this team's still scoring a lot of points despite having a few injury issues. So that is the Syndicate League. I wanted to show everybody that. I thought it'd be fun to look at that league because it's it's the most high stakes league on our site. So a lot of fun stuff there. A lot of great owners doing well in all these championships. I don't have any questions in the chat right now. I'm looking right now. I don't see anything in there. If you have anything, you can shoot me that now if you'd like. If not, I'm probably going to sign off here in a second. Again, just a reminder, waivers tonight, buys start this week. Bye week strategy should be, kind of look ahead, plan ahead. don't be caught by surprise if you have a lot of players out in a certain week. You can always look ahead and get things going in the right direction. Also, another London game this week, Dolphins-Jaguars, so get your lineups in early. Hope you enjoyed this RT Sports Weekly. Once again, I do this every week at 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on my Twitch channel. It's JPower18 for those of you that are watching this on the video and not live. If you want to watch this next week live, it's JPower18 on Twitch. I really enjoy doing this. This is for the users on our site. I want to give everybody their due and talk about things going on at RT Sports as well. So really enjoy doing this. I look forward to doing it again this next week. And I hope you have a lot of success in week 6. Hopefully it's another high-scoring week. Hopefully you have a lot of success on waivers tonight as well. This has been Jeff Power for Real Time Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.